Hi everyone, Mary D here, and I'm giving you my 3.5 week update post-surgery, post-double mastectomy for the bilateral mastectomy if you want to get really technical about it. I have met with my oncologist, and she is the cancer doctor that they send you to after surgery, who is going to talk about the tumor and what they found once they took it out. So the good news, which we already knew, is that it's 1.5 centimeters, not 2.2 or 2.3. That was their original diagnosis. So the good news is it did shrink, and I already told you guys I knew that it did because I couldn't feel it. And of course, because I did some really awesome work in my mouth on the same meridian that runs through this line. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you got to go back to the first video. Anyway, very excited about that. So that actually re-diagnoses my stage down to stage 1 instead of stage 2. So that's a positive because of the size. So they stage it usually based on size. The bad news is that they are grading it a 3 instead of a 2. And that's because this invasive carcinoma, before, when your body is fighting anything, any invaders in your body, it wants to encapsulate it, right? So it's going to make a bubble around it, and it wants to fight that infection and whatever that is. So in my case, the cancer was leaking out of the bubble. So it's already starting to come out of the bubble, and that's when cancer can spread. And where they happened to take it out of in the duct, it was in a spot that they consider, a gray area, because what they're concerned with is that there could be strays. Those cancer cells could have strayed into my bloodstream and are now sitting tiny little bitty cells somewhere in, a lung or a foot or wherever those things can sit. And then that it will, grow, and this process starts all over again with another part of the body. And that was a bit disheartening. So what they have is they have a test they do, and it's got 21 markers and a bell curve. So the curve, basically, think of it as a mountain. At the bottom, it's not very likely that it's going to be a tough climb. In the middle, it's a little more aggressive, and then at the top, it's really aggressive, and it can start to get a little out of control. So the solution, if it is aggressive, is to do chemotherapy. And as you guys know, I went with a double mastectomy. One of the big reasons was so that I wouldn't have to do chemotherapy. So I am not going to stress about it, because the other good news is that the lymph nodes that they took here, they took a couple to test them out, because normally if breast cancer spreads, it does tend to go to the closest lymph nodes. Those were clear. And so I feel confident and I feel good that they're going to see that bell curve, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, you're going to be fine. There's no need to do chemotherapy. So that's what I'm hoping and praying for. So if you would hope and pray and give me your energy in that way, that would be really supportive and fantastic, because I'm definitely hoping for the best in that situation. If she comes back and recommends chemotherapy, I will have to cross that bridge when I come to it. Through all of my research and just the conversations with the doctors, that's been a really, really big, like giant, no, don't do it. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on. I don't meet with her until the end of the month, but at the end of the month, once she gives me an update, I will give you guys an update. Some fun stuff. I've been going to physical therapy twice a week, and I've also been very good about my home care regimen. 10 days ago, I was not able to lift this arm this high, and I couldn't even take my own shirt off completely. I needed a little bit of help every now and then. Putting clothes on was pretty good. Taking them off was another tough part, and I'm wearing my own sports bras during the day, so those require me to actually lift those over my head. And so physical therapy has really whipped me into shape really quickly. So this arm is still tight, and that's to be expected because this is the arm that they took the lymph nodes out of. and I'm trying to resume some normal activities again, overdoing it just a little bit, but again, taking lots of breaks to do the physical therapy. And the other thing I did, which will make you guys laugh, is I tried on some of my old bras just to see if they would fit. I wanted to just, give it a go. See if they, how do they still fit? Do they not fit? Because you guys know, women anyway, you know how it is when we're out buying a bra. It could be one size one day and it's a different size the next day, but the bra still fits. So in my case, I tried some of my bras on. Some were a definite, absolutely not, this is not gonna work. This bra's gotta go. The other half, however, were okay. They actually worked pretty good. The brand that actually seemed to hold up the best, strangely enough, were my Victoria's Secrets bras. Those ones really surprised me, but it's because they're wider, and my implants are also wider. They're not more perky this way. They're a little more spread out and pressed down. So they actually fit really good. But the one thing I noticed as I've been looking at myself is that this left implant is either slightly higher or it's just more swollen. And I don't know which one it is, because again, I'm only 3.5 weeks in, and she says you got to give this a few months before you're really gonna see what it is, and then you'll get fitted for a bra that will be the correct for you. So the funny part about that is, before the surgery, my left breast was already bigger than my right, and so it already had the effect of seeming like it's higher. It would have a better cleavage than this left side. So that's what I'm going through, but it's a very slight variation, and it just makes me laugh, and it just goes, oh, it's still kind of like the old set. These are a little different because they're not as pliable. I know one of the things that really helped me get through this surgery and this process was thinking of it like a boob job. But at the end of the day, when you look at the post-surgery, it's actually not quite like a boob job. It is and it isn't. So it is in the sense of, hey, you wake up with new, perky breasts. The difference is they're not pliable like they were before. Like, ladies, I'm sure you've done this, right? You've reached into your bra, you've lifted up your boob to prop it up in your bra. You don't do that with these. There is nothing to prop. It's already there. They're not going anywhere. So that was the other kind of funny I had with myself. And then the next part of it was that you don't have a nipple. So I don't know if I mentioned that to you guys before, but there is no nipple when you have a double mastectomy, because the incision they make is like a little eye. So it's an eye shaped, like my eyes. It was a shape like my eye, cut around the nipple, but much bigger. It was probably like this big. Okay. So this is how much they cut from my breast. And then to close it, you think of closing your eye and then sewing it down. So it's the same, that's the same thing on the breast. And you wake up and there is no nipple. So if we do a nipple reconstruction later, which is, I believe I will probably opt for a 3D tattoo, and then she'll fabricate a nipple for me. There is no sensation. So there's no, I have no feeling here. And she said that it's very unlikely that you'd have feeling come back. So that was another oh, okay, that's also different than if you had just had a, breast lift, or if you'd had implants put in. The other thing that's really different is my implants sit on top of my muscle. So and I knew that in advance that was probably what was going to happen, because I have no breast tissue or fat here left, other than the little fatty layer that's just right under the skin. I don't have any breast tissue for an implant to go underneath. So if you are choosing to have an elective surgery, they would stick the implant underneath, and so your own breast tissue and stuff would be here on top. But in my case, it's just skin and a little bit of fat, and then the implant. So it's literally, they're there in place. They had to get sewn into place. The stitches on the inside go all the way around. So it's been an interesting process. So I want your vote, and you can put it in the comments. I want to know if it's PC for me to show you and share, because I'm totally willing to do that, because I can't tell you it made such a difference for me to see someone post reconstruct. Now, granted, their reconstruction was complete, but I want you to know that it's not as terrible as you think. When I first got out of my surgery, I was like, wow, these are Franken boobs. They look good, but ugh, it's wow. And when you think about everything that your breast just went through, at the same time you go, okay, you know what? These actually, this is okay. This is okay. And I look at them more, and I'm comfortable naked. I'm okay looking at them, and they're not, you know, there's no nipple or whatever. Like it's not. It's growing on me, and I'm keeping in mind too. I'm like, maybe I don't do nipple reconstruction, because then, anytime I wear a t-shirt, I never have to worry about headlights. I mean, that's definitely an upside. So I have a few months to make that decision too, but we'll see. So if you have a yay or nay, because I'm willing to share, I am willing to share, because it's been, like I said, an amazing process. But what I will share with you today is I will share a scar with you. Now, it's not as exciting as seeing the whole thing, but in my, if you guys remember, I had the tubes that I had to have in, and I have a mole. So I have a mole, and then I have this little spot where the tube was cut in, right? And so this is closed up, and it's literally just, there's not even anything on it anymore. It's just kind of a scar that I've been putting cream and stuff on. But at first, when I went to put the cream on, I couldn't quite tell which one was the drainage hole and which one was my mole, because they're kind of the same color at first. So I was putting vitamin E on both, and then I was finally like, oh yeah, it's the one on the outside. It's not the one that's closer inside. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. Thought I'd just share that with you. The other things I've been doing is this week I'm cleared for light activity, and I've been jonesing to get on the vibration machine. I think I've told you guys before, it's really good for your bones. It's good for your balance. It's good for getting your lymph system going. It's good for moving your cells around. And I really wanted to do that, but I was a little worried about what it was going to feel like here. So today I got on at a very low vibration setting, and it was fantastic. I did it for 10 minutes and I felt great. I'm probably going to get on there and do it again because it felt so good. And I know I'm healing really well because I'm getting really itchy. So I'm super itchy, like all up in here. And I take that as a very good sign. Again, more healing, and that's the way to go. I've also replaced my soup bases with organic bone broth. If you don't know about the benefits of organic bone broth, I encourage you to go research them and look them up. They're really, really great. And it's a fantastic alternative to anything that you've been doing with, like, if you just use chicken stock or any of those. I encourage you to go get a bone broth, an organic bone broth, and it will change your life. It's made my pho, which is a Vietnamese soup, it's made it amazing. Like, I could probably eat it every day. And again, it's good for you. The other thing is going to be that not just the oncologists, but my physical therapist, as well as the reconstructive surgery surgeon, they've all just been so supportive and fantastic. And there's some really great resources for folks who are either going through the cancer journey as a person with a tumor or one without. And so I encourage you to look up those resources if you are also on this journey. With that, I want to wish you guys love. I want to say God bless you in all that you do. And in this life, stress is going to come and go. I've had personally just a really stressful week. But you know what I found is the world doesn't stop just because there's some hurdles in the way. You've got to keep going. You've got to look at the positive things. You've got to really soak up all the things that you can be really grateful about. And I'm really grateful that I have my health back. And that's been a huge, huge one for me. And again, I'm getting all my energy. I'm feeling myself. I'm starting to feel like myself again. So that's been probably the best part of this whole thing. With that, again, wishing you love and light. God bless you in all that you do. I encourage you to stay positive and look at all of the upside all the time. Have a great week.